What's going on, music producers? It's Curtis King of Curtis King TV, and today I shouldn't be smiling because you saw the title of this video, and I intend to give you 7 reasons, 7 things I cannot stand disgusting bitter beer face about sound packs. Sometimes some of y'all be putting out sound packs that irritate the living dog shit out of producers. I'm just gonna be the first one to say it. Let's talk about it. Music producers, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, welcome. Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed today's content, make sure that you subscribe, hit that like button, and then, hit that notification bell, I don't know, brush your hair, whatever you feel like doing. Just make sure you come back if you enjoyed this kind of content. Today, it might piss off a few producers, but I mean, what else is new? I gotta tell the truth, because there are sound packs out here that have been irritating the living dog shit out of producers for years now, and nobody says anything about it. I'm going to say something about it. And then on top of that, I'm going to shamelessly plug Slap Experts, which is my sound design company that I co-partner with my brother, Leotis. Aside from that though, we're going to talk about 7 things I cannot stand about these sound packs. And I know I'm not the only one. There's other producers who feel the same exact way. Let's get to it. The first thing that I hate about sound packs sometimes, and I'm going to use our examples just so you can see what it looks like, because we really make sure that we think about the producer as we're doing these things. Some things may feel so minor until you start making a beat and realizing like, yo, this is really messing with my flow of things. I'm going to shrink this window down to kind of give you a microcosm of what it looks like when producers have these long-winded instrument titles for just an 808. It'll be like, the name of the pack is 808 Ham and Cheese, okay? It says 808 Ham and Cheese at producer booty, at producer hair, at producer ears, and they got everybody's name, and you finally get to the sound. After looking out the window right here, you finally get to the sound. You're like, oh my gosh, I have to extend this all the way out just to see the details that are necessary. Like I said, it may feel very petty. It may feel like, oh, that's not a big deal, Kurt. No, just nothing. If I pay my money for a sound pack, make sure that it's complimentary, not just to giving me information about who made it, but to make sure that it's something that as I'm trying to recall sounds and go back to sounds, it's easy to remember. And a lot of times these long-winded names, even though you're giving credit to producers that you're working with and coded sound designing with, I think that's fire. But I also think that you should move them to the end of the title, because as I'm sitting here trying to remember certain sounds, and it'd be fire sounds, it's a pain to look at this inside of my preview menu. I don't know what it looks like on other DAWs, but please express that in the comments if you've had some similar issues. So fam, shorten the damn names up. Just give us the information that we need as producers. The number 2 thing that I cannot stand, I even go as far as to say I hate saying I hate, but I hate not including the BPM or the key of your samples. And you gotta think like this: if you're someone who is a musician first, who is making these sound packs, awesome. But you gotta understand, everybody's not on your same level. Everybody's not able to just pick up a key or pick up a scale and say, yes, that's that scale. I know what that is. That is the Dorian F sharp. Everybody doesn't do that. Everybody doesn't know that. And a lot of your customer base who are seeking out sounds to help them, they're probably coming to you first because they can't afford these expensive VSTs. So make their lives easier by including the BPM in the key. If you run into issues trying to figure out what the key is of something that you played, maybe you're not a musician, maybe you're not someone that can pick that up. First, if you want to find something that's going to help you figure out the key of your melodic sample that you just made, Captain Plugins by Mixed in Key is your go-to. So we've already named this in terms of what the actual key is. If I clear this, it's going to detect it for me. Check it out. And you got to give it a little time. Look at the percentages. I usually loop it around like 4 or 5 times. Well, boom, C sharp minor is that particular sample. Okay, cool. So now you have one reference. Well, you can also go here to say Key Finder, which is a free download. And you could literally drag your sample in here, run a batch analysis, and it'll tell you what the key of your sample is. Another way you can find the key of your sample, go to getsongkey.com/tool/key. I'm gonna put it in the description. You go ahead and find this. But basically upload your file and it'll tell you what key it detects. And by the time you go through these steps, you'll have a pretty good idea of what the key is of what you're working with. But there's no excuse. There's way too many plugins. And if you're gonna be out here selling products, make sure that you're making it easy on the lives of your customers. Come on, that's customer service 101. And the third thing that I cannot stand about sound packs sometimes is when there is no file or folder organization. When producers just throw a bunch of sounds in a folder and then sell it and then say you find the 808. And then what the hell is this Where's Waldo head ass? What am I looking for the sounds for? Stop trying to make us believe that you gave us more by having a list of 70 sounds. You still only gave us 4 808s. Stop playing. Also, sometimes producers overdo it on the folder. Sometimes they put too many damn folders. So you mean I gotta dig through every song title and find all of these kicks and snares, and that may be good for your diehards. But for somebody that don't know nothing about you or your whole situation and you're selling things out here, make sure that you have the necessary folders. 808s, kicks, snares, loops, percussion loops, like separated and make their lives easier. That leads us to the number 4 thing that I hate sometimes about sound packs: too many pointless sounds. There is a strategy that producers or sound designers have sometimes of saying more is better. And it makes the buyer feel like, yeah, I got a bang for my dollar. That feels good. You just throwing a bunch of head ass sounds inside of a folder and there's no use of them. You know what I'm saying? You in here hitting your elbow and clapping and you're like, yeah, that's an analog clap. What are you doing? Take the time to actually make sounds. In this case, sometimes less is more. There are sound packs that I go to that don't just pack it out with a bunch of sounds, but they're so effective that I continue to keep going back and forth to them. Decap is master at this, at having just enough sounds and not putting in a bunch of extra stuff that's just like, oh, maybe you like this, maybe you like this, maybe you like this, maybe you like this, but why? Just give us what we need. Sometimes you're not developing a full service sound pack that has one shots and loops and melodic loops and all of that good stuff. Sometimes you're just developing a loop pack, right? Maybe it's a melodic loop pack, maybe it's a drum loop pack. If sound design, one shots, 808, sound synthesis is not your thing, well, double down on what you're actually great at. The number 5 thing, and I don't necessarily hate this, but it becomes an inconvenience. And as you can tell, most of this stuff has to do with organization, but not giving your sounds any names. When it comes to me remembering my favorite 808s, I don't want to have to go pull up my old project files and say, what 808 was that? Oh, that was Ham and Cheese 808 at Booty Beats at so-and-so beats at head ass beat at, okay, then 808 in the key of nothing. Like, name your sounds. And I got that really from, once again, from Decap's sound packs, which is just my favorite drum packs that are out there, sound packs. Name your sounds. It gives them an identity. It gives them an attitude. There's 808s, like for instance, I can tell you off the top of my head, one of my favorite 808s from Decap is Bow. My last drum pack, I gave it a theme, right? Conundrum. So now when folks think of Conundrum, they're thinking about Alfred Hitchcock. And then when you get to the 808 titles, every one of these 808 titles is titled after Alfred Hitchcock Presents TV show episode. Even when you get down here to the melodic loops, these are all in the same sort of attitude and spirit of Conundrum. So you're still thinking about like a very dark sound design approach. So you got titles like The Awakening, right? You have titles like The Closing Statements. There's an attitude behind it, and there's a character behind it that helps you remember these sounds when you come back. So please, producers, instead of 808-1, 808-2, 808-3, can we start naming them and giving them just a little bit of character? And the number 6, and the number 6 thing that I cannot stand, I hate about sound packs, is when they have irregular volume in your categories. In certain categories, say for instance, maybe it's guitars or maybe it's melodic loops. I know that different styles of music calls for different spikes in the volume, but when you have them so where they're all blasting out and I can literally do nothing over the top of them, the sounds become pretty pointless in terms of what I can do with it. And the same thing goes for when I'm trying to preview what the experience of this sample is going to be, and it's so teeny weeny in the waveform, and I'm listening and I got headphones on, but I'm still like sitting closer to it thinking this is gonna help. Even though I got headphones on, I'll be like this. That don't help nothing, Curtis. It's because the sound's too damn low. And these are the things that I'm like, do producers actually take their sounds for a test drive? Because if you did, you would really understand, like, damn, that can be an inconvenience to take that. I have to normalize it. Like, you're giving extra steps. They're not hard steps, but they're extra steps. And anything in your life that requires extra steps, there's a high likelihood that you're not gonna do it just because of the extra steps. Give them a volume that gives them just enough to work with and do things over the top of, but also not so little that it doesn't inspire them to want to use it. And the number 7 thing that I hate, and I'm not even gonna hold back, that I hate, you head asses that continue to use recycled sounds. First of all, stop stealing. Second of all, stop stealing. Third of all, stop stealing. Y'all gotta stop trying to feed us the same sounds that we have heard over and 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 over again. We recognize the chop snare when we hear it. We recognize the chop clap. We recognize the Lex Luger detune snare. Y'all gotta stop trying to recycle the same sounds and just toss them out there as your own. That ain't sound designing. That's not audio synthesis. And I had to learn the hard way about that early on in my career, but still, you're recycling sounds and trying to sell them off. Look, I know I'm not gonna stop nobody from doing that. Folks gonna do what they gonna do. Thieves gonna do what they gonna thieve. But at the end of the day, if you're looking to have some kind of longevity in this, just take the time to learn the sound synthesis process. It is really, really fun. When you really sit down there and you're like, man, this one little sound, this one sine wave, I can manipulate into like 5 different instruments. So those are 7 things that I just cannot stand about sound packs. And I hope with me making this video, this makes some sound designers out there better sound designers, and at least thinking about the experience of the producer that purchases from you. As a producer that purchases a lot of sound packs and just sounds all over, it's important for me to have some organization in some place. My process in itself can get pretty chaotic. Don't make it harder on me. I'm the one you want to come back and invest more money. But a lot of that has to do with you actually giving a damn about your customer and their experience, and I cannot stress that enough. That's why we at Slap Experts like to make sure that every one of our sound packs includes all the things that are listed in here and also gives you a very detailed description of what you need as a producer to stay productive. That's my commercial voice, obviously. Come to Slap Experts if you want to be treated right. SlapExperts.com. We got some of the firest sounds that are out here. Firest is not even a word, but when you get there, it will be a word. Thank you so much for tuning in today's video. Make sure you like, subscribe. I don't know why I'm tomahawking. So just like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share some things that you really don't and can't stand about sound packs so we can learn from one another. In this life, you will not be full of life until you decide to live life to its fullest. Once again, it's Curtis King of SlapExperts.com. Have a good one. Look up, Nazi. Say cheese.